Hello and welcome to the Making Mathematicians podcast. I'm Zach and I'm here with my brother Alec and my sister Cass. We're the creators of Making Mathematicians. It's an online course that shows homeschool parents how to learn and teach real math. Now, real math is what mathematicians do. Real math is a creative, self-expressive, open-ended exploration of whatever the imagination can grab a hold of. You learn real math the same way you learn art, science, literature, or history. You can't learn real math from a math curriculum. In this podcast, we're going to be answering your questions about how to learn and teach real math. If you'd like to learn more, check out the complete Making Mathematicians course at makingmathematicians.org. So today we're starting off simple. This is a question that I've had. So I was involved in making this course, obviously. Alex kind of more the math person. And so I helped film and edit and make the course. But I was someone growing up that didn't really like math. And I always felt like overwhelmed. Like my mom used to say that, like I used to do math with Sandy. She's a year older than me, and she would pick it up quick. And then my mom would say that she could see my brain like shut down. So here I am, like we've gone through the course. I have a good idea of what real math is, what mathematicians do, what kind of problems they work on, and how that's different from curriculum. And yet in the course, I'm looking at it now, we have a list of math problems that are like more indicative and paradigmatic of what a real mathematician does. And yet I look at it and I'm overwhelmed and I'm stressed out. So today I just wanted to ask and just like have a little discussion and talk about kind of like what's like the first thing you can do in this situation. Like I have an idea of what math is. I want to just be, a little more open and free and creative, but I still just get stressed out when I see mathy words or mathy symbols. What would you say off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head. Calm down. Probably would be my first. No. I think that's fair. I talk a little bit about this. I think we discussed this a little in the course. Just sort of like the need. It was more addressed towards parents teaching their kids and seeing their kids do this. But of course, like the parents could do it as well. But after a lifetime, or at least several years of kind of curriculum math education, where math is almost used more to kind of put you in a box of like good at math or bad at math. After years and years of that, you're gonna need to kind of detox a little bit.
Like deprogram.
You're going to need to deprogram that. And my advice to parents was just kind of be patient. Let that process kind of play out a little bit. That's gonna just take a little bit of time. Like don't give up on your kids if that's kind of their initial reaction. I mean, you put them through curriculum math. You owe it to them to give them the time and energy.
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally. As you were also put through curriculum math against your will. Which I think is kind of what your question is more getting at. And I mean, obviously that's a little bit harder to deal with. My honest first thought is maybe don't start with problems then. Maybe start with like reading books or watching videos, the sort of resources that we provide at that level on the course might be kind of like an easier transition into that, just to sort of familiarize yourself and kind of see like how this should feel.
Yeah, so that makes sense because I think that's something like I remember doing different math curriculum as a kid, and like some of it was trying to be more like fun and interesting, and it would have like little story bits and then it would get into the questions. And I remember like wanting to just read like the story bits and not do the questions. So I think in my mind like it's not really math unless it's like painful questions.
Right.
The word problems at the end.
Yeah, even though just the word problems is like a funny word to use. Math equations, I don't know. You can think of.
And like you mentioned that you felt like I got it more quickly, but as someone who supposedly got math a little bit better, who was good at math, I think I'm in the same box because I see a math problem and I still freeze up because I'm supposed to be good at it. So I think that the people who both felt like they were bad at math, both boxes, and the people who felt like they were good at math are going to look at problems and kind of feel that same sense of overwhelm, especially if you felt like you were good at math and you're looking at a problem and you're not instantly seeing how to solve it. That almost might be more threatening, emotionally threatening, because you're supposed to be smart. And what do you do with this question that might be phrased unlike those word problems you grew up with? Or
we're all victims here.
Well, smart people that no,
but we're empowered now to move beyond that.
So just like the idea that like you can do math without having to solve problems. Or like, you're like, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
well, go ahead. No, I was thinking more just sort of like, I think, because the advice I give to parents for this is, right, like, first focus on yourself. If your kids if they're like getting stressed out immediately, if they get like triggered or whatever you want to call it, they turn off, then just like kind of model for them what it should look like. That it doesn't have to be sort of like a test of whether you're really smart. It doesn't have to be, kind of like turning your creativity off to just do what you're told. Like that it can be something that's like engaging and interesting and something where like it's safe to ask questions and go down weird rabbit holes and like all that kind of stuff and like sort of pursue what you're interested in.
And not find the answer.
And not find the one true answer that they're trying to give. But I think that's the case, like as I was saying, that's the case, like if your kids are like that, that's what you can do to kind of like help them out of that and sort of model that and really focus on, like I said, give it time and just sort of show them what math can and should be like. But I think the same thing can apply to like you, if you are the parent, if you're the person, I mean, you have to kind of take the initiative yourself. But like I said, like go to some of these books, go to some of these YouTube. I think that's what I really love, like these YouTube videos and stuff you can find online. Like you have like real, honest to goodness, working mathematicians in the world today who just get on YouTube and like talk about what they do. And like I said, we link to some of that in the course, so you can find that, or we can put it in.
And that counts. That's real math.
Yeah, no. That is real math.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. We don't have to find the one true solution. We don't even have to like be the one messing with the questions in order to be doing real math, as long as we're engaging with the questions.
Yeah.
If someone else is helping us along the way through a video or a book.
Mm-hmm. No, that's the thing. And I think books are like really good for like learning to think really critically and carefully. And like always, like people need to read more. But I think actually for what you're talking about, maybe YouTube videos are kind of a better first approach, because you can just kind of see what it feels like to do it. And I mean, a lot of mathematicians are kind of awkward, but like it's fine. You can see just kind of their goofy like mathiness. I don't know.
Obviously, with our hang-ups and issues, we're a little awkward too.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense because like I already watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I'm never like afraid to like watch a YouTube video about something that I'm not an expert in. Like, if you see a video that's cool, like I watched a video the other day about like all different kinds of screws that we use to like build things, and like I thought that was cool. But like, if
were you like procrastinating?
Work. No. No, but I mean like, if there had been like a test at the end, I would not have watched that video. And I wouldn't have enjoyed it.
If it was which screw do you need to use for this?
This
project you've also been putting off.
Yeah, or a fake project that I wasn't. So no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I do really like YouTube videos, and I also feel like there's an element based on what you guys are saying of like, just like exposing yourself to something. Like I think sometimes like, if you're like, like I was. This is kind of a random analogy, but like I was trying to get my friends to like play Ultimate Frisbee with me the other day, and like a few people that weren't like that good at it. Play Ultimate Frisbee. I'm homeschooled. No. Yeah, I'm really exposing my homeschool this year. But like a few people, they like wanted to play, but they were like, I've never really done it before. And I was like, just like come and like watch us play and just like hang out, and you can like heckle us from the sideline. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Just like I think sometimes just like putting yourself in a space without any expectation of doing anything, then you're like, oh, it's chill, it's cool, and like it's not scary just to be there.
No, sort of that would use the term deprogramming. Sort of that, just like learning to kind of like turn off those sort of like fight or flight reactions that we get in the face of education. And like you were saying, like it's not just if you were bad at math. I think even if you were good at math, there's kind of a sense of your identity. That's what just really astounds me when you look at the way people talk, especially kids in school talk about math. It's such a weird part of their identity. And it's just so strange and so frustrating.
Whether they're good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. Being bad at math or being good at math, it just becomes part of your identity. And whenever your identity is threatened, that like, you get a literal fight or flight reaction, right? Like, it's not just when you're in physical danger; it's when you're sort of in that kind of emotional danger. You'll get the same sort of thing. And so I think just that can be turned off, and it just takes sort of putting yourself in the right kind of place where you feel safe, where you can kind of realize that like that reaction isn't necessary. That's it's more psychological than I can necessarily speak to, but I've seen it happen. Like, people can learn to turn that kind of reaction off, and I think probably the best way I would recommend doing that is sort of putting yourself in those spaces, especially like I said, like YouTube or whatever. And then I mean, there are some questions on there that are like pretty chill. I think some of the early ones, they deal with, like kind of drawing shapes and that kind of thing, with a like straight edge and compass.
The compass, yeah.
And so, I mean, some of those are a little trickier than you would expect, but they're still, I mean, you can just sit down and you can start playing and, try to make other shapes. I mean, it's pretty easy to make cool looking shapes with a straight edge and compass, even if they're not exactly what you're going for initially. So, I don't know.
That's true.
I think you can find a place where...
No, I think that is a big thing of, like, I don't feel like it's math until I'm, like, actually solving problems. But even just, like, I can read the problems. I could read a bunch of them and, like, I don't have to work on them right away or something. You know? That seems obvious, but, like, I'm, like, telling myself...
That is math. Just reading the problems.
And just seeing, like, what other...
beginning to think about these imaginary objects, how they interact with other imaginary objects or real world objects. Like, that is math.
Yeah.
Already.
Well, and this is something I think we talked about in the course. It's important, in order to become sort of enculturated into the mathematical community, it's important to understand the sorts of questions they ask. And this is like the real problem, I think, with curriculum math, is that the problems that are being asked, they're really just more like exercises. They don't feel like real math problems. So this is one of the reasons why we wanted to present this list of questions that feel more like real math questions, or the sorts of things that mathematicians would be interested in. Even if they're a lot more basic than what real mathematicians maybe are working on, it's sort of like the introductory questions, the paradigms of what real math questions are. So really just reading through those questions, if you can kind of turn off your, I have to solve this, just reading through them might be helpful. And I think this is another recommendation we made in the course, that first sort of read through them, and then if any of them jump out at you, if you're like, wait, shouldn't that be... Like, some of them seem kind of easy, some of them seem whatever, or especially interesting. If any of them jump out, then give that a try. Or you can even start by looking them up. Start by, Googling it, or, ChatGPT or whatever. Just like, hey, like...
Find a YouTube video.
Well, ideally, if you can find a YouTube video where somebody, like, works through the problem. And, like, most of the problems on there, I mean, some of them are kind of original problems, but most of them are... established problems. Some of them have that in the title. They'll have titles that say what the problem is called, so you can look it up more easily, and that's on purpose. And so, I mean, like, if that's where you need to start, that's fine. Like I said, like if you're learning art, it's fine to like look up great works of art. Like, we're expected to do that. That's part of an art education. That's part of your
art education.
Yeah,
it's just looking at other people's art.
Yeah, so that's I think that's totally fine.
And we keep using the word paradigm, which, if you haven't seen the course yet, the way we use that might be a little bit.
Yeah, no, a paradigm is just a model. It's just sort of an example, like a typical example that shows you how sort of the broader field works. So, we want questions that are paradigmatic, questions that model for you like what real math looks like. And like I said, the problem with curriculum math is that the problems they work on aren't paradigmatic of, real math, generally speaking. So that's the sort of thing you're looking for. So.
Okay.
I don't know.
Awesome. I think that's super.
Do you know where you're going to go now?
I think I'm just going to start with YouTube. And we have a couple YouTube channels that you've recommended that are in the course, and we can.
And there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so much like YouTube math. It's actually really fun because there's sort of like a nice community. Some kind of big math YouTubers sort of encourage other people to make videos, and it's really cool. Like, again, the mathematical community it really is like very social and very interactive, and now today with the internet, like, all of us amateurs can just either participate or at least kind of like sit on the sidelines.
Yeah.
So
cool. And we can link one or two of them below if we want to.
Definitely.
Okay, sweet. Thank you for listening to the Making Mathematicians podcast. We hope our discussion has helped or inspired you in your effort to learn and teach real math. If you have a question you'd like to ask us, please leave a comment or email podcast@makingmathematicians.org. If you'd like to learn more, check out the complete Making Mathematicians course at makingmathematicians.org.